John Blake presents Hollywood Godfather. Written and read by me, Gianni Russo. Prologue. I don't visit the old neighborhood as often as I used to. While it occasionally brought back unpleasant memories, I had my share of enjoyable recollections too. It's those nostalgic remembrances that draw me back, but these days not so frequently. Manhattan's Little Italy was different back then. I'm talking 65 years ago, when Little Italy was composed of, surprise, Italians. Today the neighborhood has diversified, predominantly because of the influx of Asians. Chinatown and Little Italy always shared a common border, with the ethnic Chinese encroaching into the Italian neighborhoods as years went on. Eventually, Chinese nationals from the People's Republic began fleeing their homeland in record numbers with the help of the professional human smugglers called snakeheads. These illegals, unable to speak English, much like the Italian immigrants from their previous century, mixed among the Italians and were later joined by Vietnamese refugees after the war. By the 1970s, Little Italy was getting squeezed, with young Italians leaving the 100-year-old Italian sanctuary for greener pastures of the outer boroughs. The neighborhood shrank from 10-block square area to less than 3 square blocks. Little Italy of my youth is now a minuscule Italy. My name is Gianni Russo. You'll be reading about my family, how I was separated from them at a tender age, and how I came to lead a life that I could never imagined. In the 1950s, I was like every other kid in Little Italy, anonymous and oblivious of what lay north of Houston Street. Mine was an insular world of old-school Italians, most who arrived in America with grandiose dreams of striking it rich in a country where the streets were paved with gold, and riches waiting for all those willing to work hard. It turned out the streets were paved with cobblestone, and most immigrants never left the neighborhood, instead scratching out a living for pennies, or making names for themselves in the emerging American Mafia. I'm not anonymous anymore. I'm most recognized as an actor, having had a feature role in The Godfather and numerous other films and television shows. But I've also been behind the scenes as a writer and a producer and countless others. My other life as a Mafia associate spanned over 60 years, but I've also done well in legitimate business. I'm recognized, and for an actor, that's a good thing. But when I go down to the old neighborhood, I'd rather walk the streets and blend into the crowd. Little Italy of my youth eventually became a tourist mecca, with suburbanites going downtown for a genuine Italian experience. While they are nothing new, tourists have been going down to this part of town for as long as I can remember. Most of the old restaurants they visit are generally gone, taken over by non-Italians preparing Italian cuisine without the warmth of the mama and papa joints I remembered so well. It's a sunny autumn day, and I find myself on Mulberry Street, which runs through the heart of Little Italy. I stop momentarily at the number 247. The Ravenite Social Club, as notorious a hangout as ever existed anywhere in the country. It was here that gangster John Gotti was welcomed like a conquering Caesar shortly after Gambino crime family boss Big Paul Castellano was gunned down in Midtown Manhattan. It was John Gotti who had given the execution order, and then assumed command of the largest Mafia family in the United States. It was also Gotti who ran the family into the ground a few short years later, and weakened the mob beyond repair by his inability to recognize that the Mafia was a secret organization. Gotti never met a reporter that he didn't like, and the mob paid the price for his love of the spotlight. I knew Gotti well, although I'd rather that I hadn't, but that's a story I'll share later. Tourists flock past me, bumping my shoulder, excusing themselves, while I stare at the facade of the old Ravenite, whose doorway I walked through many times, always under the watchful eye of
Sample complete. Ready to continue?